Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. And today we're going to be going review Ron DeSantis / Tim Scott against Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Hope you guys enjoy this video. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like down below, click that bell to receive notifications when I post daily. So I just like to let you know the criteria is based on 10% or more is a safe state. Likely states are between 5 and 10 percentage points. Lean states are between 1 and 5 percentage points, and tilt states are under 1 percentage point. I'm using, usually a 10 percentage points to be considered safe, because I still think a 12 percentage point state would be considered safe. It's probably not going to be a likely margin of victory. So let's start off with safe states for Ron DeSantis, and I chosen his vice presidential candidate as Tim Scott. I'm not exactly sure if he does run who's going to be his vice presidential candidate. And for Joe Biden, I just picked Kamala Harris because that is his current vice president. So let's start off with safe states, which are around 10, 12, 15 percentage points. So these are going to be Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, North and South Dakota, 4 split electoral votes in Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Missouri, Kentucky, Tennessee, Indiana, West Virginia, Mississippi, Alabama, and South Carolina, because that is his home state. I'm also going to characterize Alaska and Utah. That gives Republicans 124 electoral votes. And for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, I'm going to give them Illinois, Hawaii, and basically the rest of this region, except New Hampshire, because that is going to be a swing state that could be decided anything under a likely margin of victory. And I'm also going to give Colorado for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. I realized that Colorado is now a Democratic state and one electoral vote in Maine. It was decided by 13.5 percentage points in 2020, and that's really close to safe margin. And I think that's still could be considered a safe margin. If we move over to likely states, I don't see the Republican Party. Alaska going to be likely, Kansas going to be likely, probably Indiana going to be likely, and Montana. For Democrats, I'm going to add New Hampshire there, I'm going to add Virginia there, and I'm going to add Minnesota there. So Democrats have a big advantage. But when we add lean states, the Republican Party is going to get a lot better. Iowa and Ohio. These are going to be lean states in 2024. I think even if Donald Trump is not on the ballot in 2028, which he's not going to be, even if Donald Trump isn't on the ballot in 2028, keep in mind that's not possible. It's not going to happen. But what I mean is, in 2028, Ohio and Iowa, I'm going to consider them in an election for, let's just say, in an election 2028 election prediction, they're going to be likely states, or even safe states without Donald Trump on the ballot, because they're shifting to the right. All the rest of it is shifting to the right. I'm actually going to bring Minnesota down to a lean margin of victory. I think it's going to be a smaller amount, obviously also shifting to the right, like Iowa and Ohio. But when you have Joe Biden on the ballot, it's a likely state. I think it's going to be I don't know. I think it's going to be a leans to likely state. I'm going to keep it at leans for now. In Texas, shifted to the right a lot. I'm not right, left a lot. Democrats have improved their performance in the state of Texas dramatically since the early 2000s. The Democratic Party has performed very well. It was a big win for George Bush in 2000 and 2004. They were decided by more than 20 percentage points. 2008 was decided by 12. 2012, it was decided by, a pretty big amount. 2012, it was decided by about 15 percentage points. Not, the best of margins, but it was still 15 percentage points is a safe margin of victory for Mitt Romney in 2012. In 2016, it was decided by only 9 percentage points, and in 2020, it was decided by less than 6 percentage points. So it has been shifting to the left a lot. It's going to be a least margin of victory between 1 and 5 percentage points for Ron DeSantis and Tim Scott. Florida, it is Ron DeSantis' home state. Many would you expect me to put it in a likely margin. I do not agree. I think it could be a likely margin state, but I'm going to put it in least margin because keep in mind, Florida's a swing state, and Ron DeSantis is not. He only won the state by less than about half a percentage point when he ran in 2018, and he wasn't expected to blow out his opponents. Ron DeSantis is not expected to blow out his opponents, and you never know, he might even lose the election. But he's pretty popular in Florida. His popularity has went down since 2020 summer. But it's going back on track. It's about 55% right now. So he does pretty well in Florida. He's going to win it, but not by a likely margin because keep in mind there's Miami-Dade County, Democratic voters. He's not going to put too much effort in this state because it is his home state. He does pretty well in it. He's going to try to focus on other states. These are states right here. I give the Republican Party 219 electoral votes. These are really states that I can predict. Florida, Texas, Ohio, and Iowa. I'm going to predict they're going in the Republican Party. I'm like 80% sure. Now, there's some states that I'm not like fully sure in Michigan and Wisconsin and Pennsylvania exactly how they're going to go, but I can sort of make out a map on how it's going to work. Ron DeSantis going to win Georgia. Tim Scott, African American turnout, going to win Georgia. That definitely helps him. North Carolina, this is also going for Tim Scott and Ron DeSantis. This is a reason Donald Trump wanted to bring Tim Scott as vice president, but this is also another reason. It shows us that, depending on who you nominate, it could go either way. I could give New Hampshire to Nikki Haley, but I don't think I want to give it to Tim Scott or Ron DeSantis. I'm also going to give Arizona to Tim Scott and Ron DeSantis. I think they can do well in Arizona. All they need to do is perform a bit better in Maricopa County. It is a close state. And that's just how I think it's going to go. Also in Nevada, I think it's going to be a win for the Republican Party. I think they could do well in Washoe County. But in general, I'm not going to give Republicans Nevada. I've sort of fallen hope in Nevada. I think it's going to be a victory for Joe Biden. I don't know. I think Nevada is not going to be a victory for Ron DeSantis and Tim Scott. I'm also going to give them an electoral vote in Maine. I think, without Donald Trump on the ballot, it's not the biggest of margins, but it's decent. And they're also going to take the statewide vote in Maine. Kamala Harris and Joe Biden also taking a district in Nebraska. I think it's going to be by a likely margin of victory for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. It's 264 for Ron DeSantis and Tim Scott, 226. The Rust Belt just remains too early. Just remains, blank out. Michigan going for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Again, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris performing well in Pennsylvania as well. Definitely going to be like that. Wisconsin is the state I've really been wondering about. I'm also going to give New Hampshire to Joe Biden and Ron DeSantis, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. It's a 264. There's only one state left, and that is Wisconsin. Now, my questions about Wisconsin is it's going to be a total margin of victory. It's hands down going to be a total margin of victory. But is it going to go either way? Now, do I think Ron DeSantis could perform well there? In general, I think Ron DeSantis could perform well in Wisconsin, but so does Joe Biden because he won the state by 0.6%. And in general, I do not think that Joe Biden is going to hold on to Wisconsin for much longer. I'm actually going to give it to Ron DeSantis. I know this might be questionable, but I am going to give it to Ron DeSantis. I think Ron DeSantis can perform well in Wisconsin with these suburban voters near Milwaukee. So this is just my prediction. Do not take this prediction, like something real. This is just a prediction. So look at other websites on how they're considering safe states, likely states, lead states, until states. Right now, there isn't polling data. There's nothing really comes in until we know what's the actual candidate in the 2024 election, and we're a long shot away from 2024. So we're still wondering who's the candidates, how are they going to perform in swing states, how are they going to perform in solid states. But if you look at CNN, a lot of these other news networks, they're not really speaking about swing states. They're only going to give you solid states. And the only reason I'm posting these kinds of videos, because I want to update you on how swing states tend to vote. Because we don't want to know how North and South Dakota are going to vote, because it's obvious that Donald Trump or any Republican is going to win these states. And it's obvious that Democrats are going to win California. We're watching states like Michigan, states like Pennsylvania, states like North Carolina, even states like Texas, how they're going to vote, and Florida, because these are states that could go either way. Obama won them, but Obama flipped these states. But then when Donald Trump came around, he flipped them back. And then Joe Biden came around and he flipped most of them, but he didn't flip Florida and North Carolina. So they go either direction, just depending on the candidate, because we have to look at independent voters and turnout. Turnout is very important. What percent of the population is voting? If you have African American turnout is not coming out, if a lot of African American voters are not voting, because they tend to vote Democratic, it can go Republican. The state might even go red. Now, but the African American turnout if they vote in huge numbers like they did for Obama. That's why Ohio went blue, because they voted in huge numbers. Ohio has a lot of African Americans, and they voted in very large numbers for Barack Obama. That's why I went blue. And, they don't really discuss about how swing states are going to go. So this is, in general, what I think is going to happen. I do think Ron DeSantis could have a good shot at going against Joe Biden. But I still think Nikki Haley has a better advantage than Ron DeSantis. She's very, overrated, but not in a bad way. I'm not saying, she's not a good candidate, but she's very popular. I'm saying she's very popular, and she would be a good candidate in winning. And she's very popular to win the election. I think people know who Nikki Haley is. Nikki Haley has a big voice in this country. And Ron DeSantis, 1/3 of Americans do not know who Ron DeSantis is. So Ron DeSantis doesn't have that biggest voice to come over in the Rust Belt and just what Donald Trump did in 2016. He came to the Rust Belt and he held huge rallies and everybody supported Donald Trump. That's why he flipped the Rust Belt red. But when Donald Trump, when other candidates came to the Rust Belt, like Mitt Romney, like John McCain, they didn't win over voters. That's why Michigan went blue by 17 percentage points for Barack Obama. And just for that reason, I'm going to flip Wisconsin blue again. I'm going to, sort of redraw that. I'm going to give it to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. I think they can perform better. That does leave Joe Biden and Kamala Harris winning the election with 274 electoral votes for Ron DeSantis and Tim Scott at 264. The reason I did this, I'm actually going to move it up to Eileen's margin. The reason I did this is because I don't see Ron DeSantis winning over these voters. He's not going to be able to grab these voters and get all these voters' attention. He doesn't, have these huge rallies like Donald Trump. He doesn't campaign like Donald Trump. He doesn't talk like Donald Trump. Donald Trump's name is very big. And Donald Trump is the only person who can just come to the Rust Belt and flip everything red. He didn't do it in 2020 because a lot of people here in these states turned away from him. They said, well, we don't like what this guy's doing. He didn't keep his promises that he told us. And we're not going to vote for him. And so, these independents voted for Joe Biden bigger than they voted for Donald Trump, especially in Michigan and Pennsylvania, more than Wisconsin. But still, Pennsylvania was decided by double the margin of Wisconsin. So that's my prediction. Keep in mind, Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and New Hampshire could go either way. But this is my prediction. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.